All right. Hey, everybody. Sorry for the late start. I'm hanging out here. We got Jordan, the whole crew. We got a whole bunch of people hanging out. There's more than that, but those are the ones that are down for being on camera. Yeah, it's fun hanging out. We're over here at a smoke lounge. We're at Brick House Saloon in Oklahoma. It's Shawnee. If you're still up and you're nearby, come hang out. If not, thanks for joining us. We have a fun show for you guys today. I'll be back here in a minute with some other fun guests, but I'm turning the show over to Wes and Monkey.
Yo, what's going on? Thanks a lot, Potent. Sorry, everybody. It was completely my fault. We were late. I left everything to the last moment in regular stoner fashion, and as a result, we are late. So I'd like to apologize to everybody. It is 100% my fault. How you doing tonight, Monkey?
I'm doing pretty good, Wes. Man, look, don't take fault for it. Shit happens, man. You know what? We keep rolling. That's it.
That's right. That's right.
We don't want to blame anybody for these kind of things.
So what's new with you this week?
Not a whole lot, man. I've just been doing just household junk, man. Just pressure washing the driveway. You ever do that? Oh, it's so much fun.
It's the stuff that's got to be done, man.
Oh, hell yeah, man. You know what? The best part of that is it's a big old joint when you're finished.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
Man, you know, every bone in your body aches from hunching over that damn pressure washer for all those hours and stuff like that. There's nothing like that first smoke.
That is true. That is true. I should have put one a little closer to myself here, but
I've got plenty by me, man.
I got plenty here. It's just out of arm's reach.
I hear you.
So you said you were checking your tent before we got started. What do you got going in the tent?
Oh, I've just I had a strawberry cough clone that I was messing with, and I threw it out on the deck probably mid-July. And it got away from me. Before I knew it, it went into flower. And I've been trying to reverse this thing and get some decent cuts off of it so I can go ahead and get it out again. And that's what I've been playing with, is getting those cuts out. But I mean, the rootstock is big enough now to where I might just go ahead and chop it down to the base and just flower it out. Heck, it's pretty strong, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, every now and then.
One hell of a grow, I think. You know, go ahead and scrog that thing out.
Yeah, just make sure you got a few cuts for a new mom. And yeah, I love flowering my moms out after, because I honestly find that sometimes they give me the best weight because their branches are just strong from like hardening up, you know.
Darn right, man. This thing had branches like, you know, tree branches, like wood. It's like took loppers to cut off some of the stuff that was so out of shape. But yeah, it had gotten kind of unruly. So I literally did take the loppers to it before I threw it back in the tent. And then was the trick of making sure, you know, I had to put it in isolation and make sure that all the critters were gone and everything like that.
Oh, for sure.
You know, you open up the tent and say, what is this caterpillar poop doing up in here? I know it ain't supposed to be up in here.
Holy.
Hey, man, it happens to everybody. Just you roll with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. So did you put it out to rejuvenate the strength, or did you put it out to?
Well, I had the original in the tent. It was flowering, and when I just went and lollipopped it, I had a bunch of cuts. So I rooted a bunch of them in it, and lo and behold, this thing roots really well. So that's a big plus. Nice. And no, I actually had no idea what I wanted to do with it until after I harvested the first plant, and that's when I decided, no, this one has to stay. So
nice. I
had thrown it out on the deck just to do nothing with it, just to let it sit there for a while to decide what I wanted to do. It was just out of the way.
Yeah,
okay. That definitely set me back a full month to kind of re-veg it and get it back into a condition to where I can actually do something with it. But hey, I got nothing else to do.
Right on.
That's it, man. There it is. I'm trying to find the link for this show so I can share it on Discord. I just found it. There you go. Nice. Well, you know what? Somebody else beat me to it. How's that?
So how did you get into growing?
Basically, well, I mean, I grew a little bit earlier back in the day when information was hard to come by, before year 2000, when everything was on the internet and you could find whatever you wanted anywhere you wanted it. So yeah, back in the day, it was just trial and error. Got away from it for a long time, and just to be honest with you, I've got aches and pains like a lot of people. And when the opioid crisis thing hit and they took away any medicine possibilities from there, I needed to do something. So I found that cannabis does really, really well for back pain. And so at that point, I mean, look where I'm living. I'm in the Southeast. Come on, down here in the Southeast, you're in the worst part of the country as far as cannabis goes. So the only really good way to get a good, safe, constant supply of medicine for me was to grow my own. So, bounced around a few grow rooms and found one that I liked. And now I help Mackie run the place. So what the hell, give back to the community.
Awesome. Awesome.
Love it, man.
And let's see, I don't know. What else? What other questions? Let's see. I got a terrible echo on my end for some reason.
I guess the big question is, where is everybody else tonight?
I know, right? Well, they all took off because I was so late. It's my fault.
That's what it is. You ran everybody off, huh?
I did.
So what you got growing these days, Wes?
Let's see. I have a Oaxacan Thai male that I'm just holding and sitting on in the back, and don't really have any plans for that. There we go. Got rid of that damn echo. And then I got for females that I'm running right now, I got a Mac and Jack, which is kind of my favorite smoke right now.
Cool. Sounds good.
I mean, it's a Mac cross, but it's more a Jack hair leaner. And I always was a big fan of Jack hair. I always called it philosopher's stoneweed. You smoked it, and for me personally, I always thought I would forget I was high, and I'd just be in my mind, I'd be solving all the world's problems. And then it occurred to me that I'm just high, and I maybe should just slow down and take it a little easy. But yeah, man. I got that. I have some Island Sweet Skunk coming up, but those are only, I haven't seen those yet. Those are only seedlings. I got this one called Jafada, and it's I'm not sure what it is. It's old school lineage, but it's probably mostly Northern Lights 5 and some sativa. I don't know. But damn good smoke. I mean,
sometimes you don't need to know the lineage,
exactly,
as long as it's good smoke, right?
As long as it looks pretty for some pictures and it smokes real nice. I mean, that's it, hitting every point for me, really.
Exactly, man. Look.
So
you don't really know the lineage. Let's say unknown female or whatever like that. That's what they usually do. It's like secret this or unknown that.
That just adds mystery to the story. Yeah. Welcome back, Potent.
It's like Stone Wolf's in the chat tonight, I think. Good deal.
Okay. Is it working? Oh, hold on. I'm trying to get it to where he can also hear me. Can you do 2 output? Yeah, fuck. Yeah, I can relay questions from y'all to Jordan. We got Jordan River here from Growcast.
What's up, Jordan?
Always a pleasure.
Puffing away, puffing, drinking, smoking, getting fucked up.
Way to be.
What's up,
That's
guys?
what you do on a meetup.
Yeah. Nice to be able to have public places that we can come to see.
Yeah, it would be nice to have that. We're still down here in the dark ages, man. We got to hide behind closed doors and closed windows.
Well, they legalized it. They legalized it up here, and like they did nothing with it. Like you're not allowed to go anywhere and smoke it. You're not allowed to smoke it out on the street. Like it's terrible up here.
Yeah, I like the New York model. Smoke it wherever you can smoke cigarettes. It's the same thing. So I
Put
like
the
that.
mic on so we can both talk into the mic. That fucked up. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted.
All good, man. All good.
Okay, now you can hear Jordan talks, but he can't hear you, so you have to ask him questions.
Hi, I can now speak, but I can't hear you. Someone translate for me.
Jordan River is a deaf mute.
Says you're a deaf mute.
Basically. Basically.
I can try putting the speakers on, but I don't know if you'll hear shit. Kind of loud. You guys can try to. I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything? No?
Hmm.
There we
Is it
go.
working at all? Or
He must be on a phone or something. I don't know what he's on.
I think he's on his laptop.
Ah, that should
He is
work.
on
Just
his
get
laptop.
headphones in. He's got earbud in, so
It's a problem is he's got one and he's got him and Jordan doesn't.
well, Steve takes the right one and Jordan takes the left one. You remember how they used to do it? Yeah, with the wired headset, right?
This is true. This is true.
You look like you could look like boyfriend and girlfriend sharing the music. You know, go for it, man.
Sometimes it's only one of them that has the mic though. That's a problem with the earbud sometimes.
That is true.
Yeah.
He's waving. You can see that much.
I need to get
Q&A with
chat
Jordan
open.
River. He can't hear. And doesn't have a clue.
What else is new with you, Wes?
Man, you want to hear a funny story? I kind of already told you a little bit of this story, but I actually had a weird. I should grab it to show in the story. At one point, I'm gonna have to get up and go grab something and come back. So, Monkey, I'm a surveyor, and is what I do for my day job, right?
Nice. Okay.
And so I get to spend all my time in the forest, like all my time in the forest. Like I literally spend 60 hours a week in the forest. So anyways, I've been trying to get to these survey pins and they were across a river and we tried to cross it 2 different ways and we couldn't get it. And it was getting late in the day. So I said, screw it. We'll come back, try fresh tomorrow. Right. So my sister and I we're planning for a big hike. We hike down this river valley and we're hiking. And we drop down this super, super steep slope. And I get to the bottom and there's like this old firewood like stacked up and it's just covered in moss, like 50-year-old moss, like it's been there forever. And I'm like, why would somebody like this is a really, really remote and hard place to get into. Like 9 out of 10 people couldn't find or get into this spot. And I'm like, why would somebody have firewood here? And I look behind me and I see like halfway into the hill, because the hill sliding down on top of it is a log cabin, like a trapper's cabin. And the roof is collapsed in on it. But like I go look at it and it's fallen in. I don't want to get in there or anything. But I look in there and I see this like silver thing. And like you could tell that like usually when you find a cabin like that, there'll be nothing in it. Like it'll just be a trapper's cabin that have left behind or whatever and they don't use anymore. And they've usually cleared everything out. But this was down like a really remote river valley. And I look in and it's actually full of stuff. Like it's actually like full of stuff. Like the bed still had hay on it, like like all kinds of stuff, right? So I look over and I see this silver thing with all these latches on it. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And so I reach in and I grab it and I pull it out. And it's a friggin' banjo. It's like, well,
Oh God, no.
It's a banjo. Well, it's the remains of a banjo. I'll grab it here to show it to you.
Ding, 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 ding. Let's run quick, get away. Anytime you hear the banjo music, it's not a good thing.
All right, sorry, Monkey.
No problem, man.
Anyways, so here it is here.
That's the hoop, okay.
Yeah, this is all that was the remainder of it here.
Uh-huh.
So I started looking it up and it looks like it's dated to about 1880s is when this is from. So I don't know what I got to do. I got to take it to somebody who knows what to do with it and see if I can get it fixed up, at least make a wall hanging or something out of it. But yeah, no, it's pretty crazy.
I guess
Pretty
bring it to
crazy.
somebody. You trying to make it into a banjo again, or just kind of put it on something for a wall hanger?
Well, a little of both. Like, it
Ah,
depends.
okay.
It depends. Like if it could play music again, I think that would be the best goal for it. But like
Sure.
if it just has to be a wall piece, I'd be very happy for that as well.
Yeah, yeah. An expert would know whether
Yep.
it's worth it or not. But I mean, just the history of it, knowing that it's 100 years plus old, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. So
Walk up at first person that saw that in 100 years.
yeah, probably. It's definitely a while. It's definitely a while.
It's pretty cool when you find a place like that, knowing that, you probably were the first person that walked past that thing
Yeah,
in a
and I
long time.
yeah, and I wonder like why this trapper left all this stuff behind, why he never came back for his stuff, like too as well. And it's strange, but
Well, I guess if you had to pack it out from all the way back there, you'd leave it too, huh?
maybe so.
It could have been a cold winter. It could have been no food, could have died. I mean, we could go on forever there.
Yeah, well, exactly. Exactly. It's all hearsay, but for some reason that banjo wanted to find its way out of the bush, so she's
Damn
out
right.
of the bush. So.
So, hello, here you are. Take me home. Pretty neat stuff when you find things like that. I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
back in college, we found a house that had been totally abandoned. It was unlocked, so we went in it. And I mean, the dishes were still on the table, the magazines were still in the rack, everything. But it looked like it had been empty for at least 5 years. But everything was exactly where they left it. It was so strange. Such a weird feeling when you see that.
Yeah, when it's been so long since anyone else has been there and you know it. Yeah. that's
Yeah,
definitely-
but I mean, it's just like people could live here. It's still everything's here.
Yeah, man.
Makes you wonder what happened to those people, like you said, though, because surely, and especially in the city, somebody's going to care about the place. That's what you would think.
Yeah, man. So are you still in prohibition land then?
Oh, hell yeah, man.
And no, there's no move towards your state legalizing or what?
My state has made some small moves, put it that way. But, our political situation doesn't look like at this point that we're going to have any governor with the guts to sign a bill. It's one of those things. Current governor basically said that he knows it's going to happen, but he's not going to be the one to do it. That's just pretty much the attitude down here.
Does your state have medical at all, or?
Yes, there is a
Okay,
medical
good.
program here, and it's not that hard to get into the medical program. The only problem with the medical program is it's state-produced weed. How you like that? There's only a couple places that
I
actually
bet it's
produce
real
it.
good.
Yeah, this is
Real
like
terpy stuff.
yeah, it's a monopoly on who can produce it. So it only comes from 2 sources in the entire state. And the number of dispensaries in the state is limited to something around, for the whole state, like 20. So it's not like it's super easy to get a hold of. And if you can, because it's a little hard to find, it's even at the medical dispensaries, it's expensive.
Really?
Prices, they just allowed flour on the medical program. Prices for flour when they first started selling it were going anywhere from $280 an ounce to $640 an ounce, depending on what dispensary you were in. So,
Jeez.
and this is all coming from the same 2 producers in the state, so it's all the same stuff. But there's big problems in the medical program. So personally, I'd rather just grow my own. It's safer. And I mean, come on, anybody can grow enough for yourself. It's that, it just doesn't take, it's not rocket science growing weed. You know this.
This is true. It's pretty easy. Once
pretty easy.
you've done it a couple times, it's pretty much second nature.
Yeah, getting over that first grow and learning a few things is the hard bit. But once you get past that, I mean, that's what we do at Percy's all the time. We teach new people how to do it. That's our thing. I mean, we're not trying to be the biggest yielders or the fanciest cultivars. We just want to teach people to grow, be self-sufficient. That's what we do. And we do it for free. Hey, I love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
How
So
many
we have
people?
taught.
Sorry.
I said so many people we've taught. I've wondered how many tons of cannabis has been produced by people going through that site, you know.
I wonder what the guy that taught me how to grow would say about me being on a fucking being on shows and shit like that. Like he'd be like, "What is wrong with this guy?"
Well, one of the guys that taught me how to grow, I'm on his show. So yeah, there you go. You know what I mean? Every now and then, yeah, you do the right things and they bring you along. You never know.
That's right. That's right.
It's all about attitude, though, when you're doing this kind of stuff like that, you know. Everybody makes mistakes, and you just got to, you know, tell people everybody does this. We've all made the mistakes. We all didn't think we made them when we made them, but we all been there. So, hey, I'm not going to yell at anybody or fuss at anybody, or I'm not going to laugh at anybody. Hell, I've done every stupid thing could ever be done. I've done it already. And if I haven't done it already, it's because I don't know it could be done. It seems like, you know, I've done all those stupid things. But yeah, that's one of the things we do is we always tell people, you know, don't be a dick. Somebody asks a question, just give them a hand. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I mean, at least now people are getting good information. Back in the day, the forums, you could find as much garbage as you could find good information.
Well, that's
you had to know how to search it. So
definitely. I mean, that's one reason I work as admin over at Percy's is, you know, we don't play that game. We moderate everything and make sure the information is correct when it goes out. If there's any doubt about it, no, we're not going to let that happen. I know how bad that is because when I first started growing, before I had a permanent, what I called my permanent forum home, I went to several different places, and man, there's so much conflicting information out there. Oh my gosh. You know, trying to figure out how to make a soil for a cannabis grow. You start reading, and the next thing you know, you're going crazy. It's like everybody had an opinion, and it's ridiculous. So
yeah, and then they would just get on there and start arguing about dumb shit.
Yeah, really. And it's like micro things. It's like, dude, no, I came here for a basic answer. I don't want you to tell me about soil science way out here. This is my first grow. Let me get past the first grow before you start talking about that stuff. But it can be hard for a new grower starting out if they don't know somebody to lead them on correctly. Or find a home that actually is going to give them some straight answers. That's the other part of it. So
cool. So how did you find your mentor?
Just stumbling around, basically. I don't know. Just started with I think it was the Cheap Home Grow Network back in the day when it was in its infancy, and Mackie did a show up there on the network, and I just happened to be working that day and saw a notification come out in the middle of the day over a podcast. Like, what the hell, put this thing on. And it was that clown over there. So, you know, I listened to his show, kind of like, okay, this works. And I listened to 3 or 4 of his shows, and then I just showed up over at Percy's and signed up. And I think within 6 months I was working as a moderator over there, because, you know, just you find the right people to do the job, and you get them to do it. That's all I can say, really, you know. But no, I found him on the internet, and just like we went over there, and for some reason we understood each other. You know, it's one of those things, we clicked. Not everybody clicks, but I understood him, he understood me, and there was a trust level. So he taught me what he knew about growing, and I taught him what I knew about growing, and together we learned. So, you know, I have to say he taught me more than I taught him, though.
Yeah, well, that's kind of similar to how Potent and I met. Little different, but basically along those lines. I'd been a fan of his and was following him, and there was another show I'd started talking to, and I got on there pretty regular, and that's how I met Potent. Then we've been hanging out since. But it's great to meet somebody that you can just drop the knowledge on you and just give you what you need to know, like without any bullshit and without holding anything back. Like a lot of people used to do that back in the day with not
Well, you're talking about the secret information, and I'm not
like
really get the big buds and stuff.
They give you the 80%, but they never give you the 20, and just leave you hanging. And then once you figured it out, they'd be like, "Oh, what? You got that now? Oh, yeah, we've been doing that for years, but just never told you."
Could have spitted you up here and told you, give you the answer, but we just thought you wanted to learn it on your own, right? That's crazy. Nah, we'll actually like it when people share their successes, even if it's weird. Sometimes it's a fluke, but I still love it when people share information. Can't take it with you. You know, put that information out there in the universe. Let somebody else use it.
That is true. That is true.
Otherwise you'll end up leaving this earth and somebody says, I wonder how he did that. It's like, well, guess what? It'll never be done again. That's not a success.
That's right. That's right.
Leave a legacy.
This is true. This is true. I'm gonna send. I don't know if Tao's available. Wonder if he wants to get on. I'm gonna send him a fucking.
Let's see if I can get Bubble Hawk in, maybe if he wants to jump.
Man.
He's on. Let's see. First of all, I got to check to see where he is.
Here comes Tao.
Nice.
Right on. We've got the American one joining us.
Hey, what's up, Wes and Monkey?
What's going
Hey,
on,
what's up,
brother?
man?
Not too much. I figured I'd pop up for a little while. I don't know how long it'll stay, but
Oh man,
so-
are we getting into conspiracies now? Then is that where we're going with this?
no, I'm gonna lay off all of that. But I wanted to come up and just remind everyone that Potent Ponics Steve is just an awesome dude. He is so generous with his
Yeah, man.
information, time,
Absolutely.
and knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to throw that out because I feel like a lot of people are unappreciated as much as they should be,
Yeah, that he's definitely underrated for the amount of knowledge he's given to the community. Like 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
Steve's
man,
a great
like,
guy, man. Fantastic.
I would have never heard about KNF or Jadam or any of that shit if he hadn't brought that around on his show and stuff. So I
Right. And
appreciate
it's like
that.
so many crossover tidbits of knowledge that, people might think aquaponics, you can't, you won't get anything from watching the show about aquaponics, but it's endless the amount of crossover information you could use and just everything, especially IPM. He's so experienced with so many different environments, places, bugs, things that you just can't get reading a book or even going to school.
Mhm.
You have to be there to experience this shit and figure it out and fix it, and that's what he does and did. And yeah, I'm a big Potent Ponics fan, so yeah.
Nothing like that experience for the best information, huh?
Yeah.
That's right, man. That's right. So what do you got going on? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, where is he? He's they're
around.
outside smoking a fatty somewhere.
There.
You get the brick wall.
They've been quote unquote doing a meetup for the last few hours. So you know what I mean? He's probably feeling all right by now. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that, though. I mean, I'd be in the same situation if I was over there. Wouldn't you?
I'm in that situation all the time. Doesn't matter who's with me or not.
I know what you mean, man. Even if
And
it's only
speaking of
meeting
that-
up with the missus,
Cheers.
Awesome. And so what do you got going on in the grow tower?
Well, I'm getting all these head fakes that the heat is going to break, and then the next day it's over 80 again. But because I shut down a couple of my areas because last year I battled them and I got beat up. They kind of beat me down, So this year I was just like, I'm going to shut down those 2 spots, wait for the heat to subside, and then I'll go back. So that cut me in half, and that sucks. But I snuck a couple into the garden, the veggie garden right outside my house here.
Nice.
Those are sticky as a motherfucker. But they're shorties. They're only like maybe 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
And they're like, I didn't want to have them like so that the landscapers would want to, easily find them and see them. But they're getting plenty of sun and they're doing awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just going through some stuff. I'm doing a round of ones that are finished. Like, I'm not going to keep any longer. Those are like the last plants of them. I didn't take cuts.
Mhm.
I hate doing that because I don't know. I like to keep everything. I just cannot do it. So I'm reducing the necessary yeah, because I got like 3 males now and like 10 or so females that I want to keep forever, but that ain't happening either. I have to narrow more and more down. But
You just got to find a good friend that'll keep, want to have a mom that you can get a cut off every now and then.
Yeah, I need to find someone else that grows. Like New York just got legal, and they actually just put on the books finally that the law for cultivating. Everybody in New York thinks, oh yeah, I could grow it now because it's legal. Like half of the people I know are growing it.
Right.
Well, not half. I've come across a whole bunch of people that have it in their backyards and shit.
I know a
But
guy
it's still
who's got it on a
illegal.
terrace in Queens, man.
Yeah. It's just supposedly still illegal to cultivate it, but you're allowed to have 5 pounds in your house. So I don't know how they figure you're going to get 5 pounds in your house because they haven't opened up dispensaries or anything either yet. So whatever. It's like the cops ain't fucking with anybody, I don't think. But I guess if they get a complaint or something, they can bust you good. But they just came out and said that now medical patients of New York can legally cultivate. I think it was October 1st. And I think that said 4 plants. I'll have to double check because I don't have a medical card yet. And yeah, I go by God's law, I go by.
I hear you, man. It's a plant. But, yeah. I need the medicine. Hell with the license.
Yeah. So it's like kind of like a gray area right now, but they're going to continue to write the law and put it in place. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
And I'm setting up. So yeah, I've been setting up for when the heat does subside. I have to make more beans of a few strains that I'm starting to get low on, and I'm going to do a big old seed run as soon as I feel comfortable with the temperatures, and then and then I'll go from there. So that's where I'm at.
Nice.
How about you, Wes? Do you have any sun grown?
No, this year no sun grown. No sun grown this year. I didn't do anything outside. Like right now I'm at 12 hours. I'm just getting to 12 hours now.
Okay.
And I'm already getting frost, so like it's impossible to get any. I'm so far north, so it's all gotta be like autoflowers or I can do light depth. Light. I did light depth last year. I did some really nice light depth last year. I just had a little one that I made myself out of just plastic and like a little hoop house setup. But,
right.
And I grew some wicked bud outside with that, and it was sticky as all hell. Yeah, no, it was real good stuff. But yeah, it's just too much work. This year.
And you have to be there.
Honestly, my wife did all of it. My wife did. And she ended up pulling tarpon fucking way more than me. So I was so
kudos to picking a good one.
Yeah. She can grow dope. She can smoke it just as well as she can grow it. So that's half the problem.
I can get my wife to do is open a jar. Other than that,
about it. That should be a prerequisite. You got to smoke it to grow it, but
yeah,
I guess there's plenty of successful people that cultivate it that don't grow it. Do you remember Medi Crapper? His name was on YouTube's.
Yep.
Yeah, he was like big time, like stupid amount of lights and shit. He never smoked weed.
What?
Yeah, he never smoked weed. His buddies would be the test, like someone that he worked with would be, going through it and testing and shit. And obviously you could smell it and, see it, but yeah. And like when we learned about that, we were like, wow, he did real good, I guess it's kind of like those who can't end up being teachers, maybe. It's like that.
Maybe so.
What about you, Monkey Dude? What's happening in your growing side of things?
Just trying to stay under the radar and make sure the law doesn't find me, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a noble cause.
Yeah. I don't want to be one of Steve D'Angelo's causes, if you know what I mean. So I'll keep up my avatar and
there you go.
Keep it quiet for as long as I can, But other than that, man, just kind of doing the same as the rest of the world, just kind of watching the weather change. And I think we're going to have fall real soon coming here. We don't have it yet. We got a few leaves falling, but man, look, this far south, it takes forever to get cool.
So we got the extremes. We got the Wesingine up north, you down south, and I'm in the middle. Yeah, I'm kind of in the middle.
Kind of in the middle, yeah.
Depending on how far north and how far. I'm in New York area.
Well, I mean, if Steve would be on here, he'd be between me and you. So yeah, because I mean, Oklahoma, I'm not that far. I'm not that far north, Oklahoma. I'm in the Gulf South.
Okay, yeah, you're in Bama, maybe.
Yeah, it's good enough.
Okay. So yeah, and are you West Coast or East Coast, Wes?
I'm kind of West Coast. I'm Central West.
Okay.
I'm Alberta.
All right, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, let's see, October's coming. Harvest season's coming in Oregon real soon, I believe, huh? I think we were up there last year in early October, and they were talking about going to chop outdoor in early October up there. Supposedly, some of that stuff grows in trees out there, man. Big stuff.
Oh yeah, Oregon. I have a calendar. Actually, I should go grab it and show you guys. I'll go do that.
Okay, cool.
I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah, along the coast there, it's always seems to be good going right along the coast because of the sea acts is a heat sink, so the weather doesn't change too fast. So you don't feel like whereas when you're inland, you tend to get the frost comes a lot quicker.
Yeah. I got a kick watching a video of Swami Chaitanya harvesting out there because he basically takes the wagon out there and takes the whole damn tree and just whacks it down in one piece and hauls it in the wagon, deals with it later. I was like, that's the way to do it, Swami.
That is the way. That is the way.
Go for it, buddy. Yeah, takes his girls in one at a time when they tells him he's ready, and takes him to task.
I mean, I guess they tell them it's ready. I mean, they're like, I'm sure it's the same shit we all do, looking at the trichomes,
yeah.
looking at how.
I guess you could say my girls tell me when they're ready. It's either okay, I'm getting sick, take me now before I die, or oh my gosh, look how lovely I am. Either way, yeah, they tell you when it's time to go.
They do. Or the branches break under the weight, and you're like, well, I guess it's time now.
Yeah, really. Guess I should have tied that one up. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, man.
But it's all good. I mean, seems like perpetual grow. The only thing I'm ever doing. I feel like okay, I just finished trimming, and I'm going to be starting to trim in a few weeks. It's like, oh my gosh, not again. That is the scourge of a home grower, man.
It is. Trim jail is not a place I like to be in. I'm about to get into a bunch of it. I have my.
I don't hate it as much as you would think, but it does just get monotonous. That's what I hate. Yeah, the monotony of it.
I've gotten so fast at it now, though, too. I've put in my 10,000 hours. So I'm like a professional expert at trimming now. I'm just like,
I'm not that fast. I'm faster than I used to be, but I'm not that fast. But I was amazed the other day because I estimated what the trim time was going to be, and it was like half of what I really estimated. So maybe I'm getting a little better, but still, trim jail sucks. I think that should be a clause for people that you give free weed to. They should show up for trim jail.
Yeah, they should. Absolutely. There's no better way to earn your keep.
That's it, man. You want an ounce? Come on, spend a day with me.
Yeah.
That's a pretty damn cheap ounce, Give me a day of trimming. Think about the retail cost of where I am down here in the South and what that ounce is worth.
That's right. That's what's fun. Yes. Especially in Prohibition land.
Damn right, man.
Welcome back, Bolton.
Well,
yeah.
Welcome back. I think he's.
I guess we got the dreads. We got the
every now and then you get to see. There's his hair. Okay.
I need to get away from here. I think they're talking to me.
Whatever. Yeah. Don't make me talk on that thing. They're having too much fun over there. They're probably dabbing and everything, man. What the hell, Let them do it. Let them enjoy it.
Man.
Like I said, if I was there, I'd be right in the middle of it.
That must be nice. When they legalized up here in Canada, I was like, oh, this is great. This is the best thing that ever could happen, right? No, it's worse. They literally don't allow you to go anywhere. There's no smoking lounges. In my town put a bylaw that you're only allowed to smoke it within your house or your backyard.
Yeah. I've heard about a lot of the horror stories. Which area are you up there in the north?
Canada. I'm in Canada here.
Ontario?
No, Alberta.
Alberta. Okay, I've not heard too many reports from Alberta. But yeah, I've heard things about. One of the ladies we interviewed, she's in Ontario. They were doing some outdoor grows, and because of the limits, she was growing 4 plants at her dad's house and 4 plants at her house.
Right.
But
right.
the law basically says you can only be in possession of X number of grams of wet cannabis. So they didn't want to, they can't harvest it at dad's house and dry it over there. They needed to get it to her house. But if you cut the plant, put it in the vehicle, you're illegal. So they asked the officer what to do. And what they were told is what they did. They basically dug up the root ball, put it in a bag, put the bag and root ball and everything in the vehicle and drive it, because at that point it's still a cannabis plant. It has a root ball on it. And you get home and you cut the root ball off of it and you do everything you want to it. But that is so stupid that you've got to jump through hoops for this.
I would
That's
just
what it boils down to. Over
cut
there.
it,
It's
cover
crazy.
it with like paper towel. It's a clone.
Anything, yeah,
It's a clone.
anything.
What do you got? I got a full flowering clone.
It's right. It's a clone. Put a little Rockwell cube on the bottom of it.
A little 4x4.
It's just a
cube.
clone. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna re-veg it.
Nice,
It's
nice.
all good. That would be hilarious. Need to do that.
Check with your local jurisdiction before.
Yeah, but I have we've got a guy on our show that he's a medical patient and a grower in Ontario, Saskatchewan area.
Okay, yeah.
And he said that for him, before it went recreationally legal, the whole situation was way better for him. He said after they went recreationally legal and changed a bunch of stuff like that, he said it changed his limits, the way he can grow, where he can get it from. He said he hates it. He has nothing nice to say about the legalization program in his area. He hates the whole thing.
Yeah, it's really been a failure up here. I mean, like as in most places, it just ends up being way overtaxed and doesn't have a chance to do anything.
He talks about the price differences between the legal recreational market and the legacy market, and it's, oh my gosh, it's so ridiculous. And the way he describes it, he said the legacy market is so entrenched and so established. It's basically you can order it on the internet and they mail it to you.
Yeah, exactly. No, and it's way better quality too. They've known what they're doing since Prohibition, no, absolutely.
So what we're looking at there now? Oh my God, that looks like a freaking orange tree, but that's cannabis.
All right, so yeah, if I could get my
Nice
bearings right, this is Oregon's finest.
Damn.
That looks like a freaking orange grove the size of those trees.
2011. So
beautiful, man.
No wonder Coot's always talking shit on people for small plants. Fuck, if they grow like that in Oregon, holy shit.
Beautiful,
oh yeah, there's some big ones too.
Everything seems to grow out there. When we go visit, man, it's crazy. Whew.
I know there's one of like a big like here we go.
Yeah, that's the one.
Look at those.
Yep. Nice big round mounds. Like I said, they look like damn orange trees.
They look like orange trees
that size.
9 varieties, it says in the right there, but you can see, man, those look like bigger than Mendo dope plants to me.
They've
man. How long you think you're trimming there?
They're planted on 20-foot centers, man. That's crazy.
And this is 2011, remember? So God knows
they're doing
what they're
better
up
now?
to. It's been 10 years, right? That's crazy. Oh, there's you see this camera? It's very weird, man. Stinky Pinky. I never had that here. There's some more hanging November.
Yeah.
All right, so that's one of them. And then there's another one. This is the one, I guess, with the, this is even older, 2010. Yeah, I bashed my finger. See that?
Mm-hmm.
More stinky pinky, but
Mm-hmm.
oh, there you go. Train wreck. Look at the chunks on that thing. Out. This
Damn
is
right.
sun-grown.
There's another
I mean,
monster.
How? Yeah. How do they even?
I mean, just
How?
yeah, you can't harvest it any other way but just
In pieces?
brute force here. You got to just whack it down and haul it out,
I think cut every branch you can reach off, and then
take
hack-
it out that way.
then hack the rest. Maybe, I don't know, man. Fuck.
I've
that's a
never.
bit-
I'm hoping maybe one day I'll have that problem.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. As
Just
soon
once.
as the
I'd have to have a whole lot of friends come over to help the trim party on that one, though, for damn
oh,
sure.
here it is. Here's the one I was talking about. Check out this one, boys.
all your friends
the
are
road
waiting.
between the trees.
Yeah, look at these are all chunks now. They're not just look at just like look, man, all the way down.
Nice.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
this calendar says it's Oregon, so I believe him, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah, it took me a minute to find. I was like, what the hell did I do with it? And then I got if you guys are interested, I got some other calendars. This one from circa 1978.
This is his bud-born
78.
calendars.
Yeah, there's older ones too. But yeah, you could see some of the old school. This is Colombian gold.
Oh man, that stuff was. I remember smoking that stuff.
I
mean,
remember
the
getting-
buds. Gosh, no comparison to today's buds. I
But
mean,
look at all the beans in
scrawny,
there.
just feathery, airy.
They were thin, pencily. They were
Damn right.
like,
I mean,
they
sometimes you go,
look
is
like
this leaf or bud? I don't even know.
yeah, it kind of you'd either get pencils or you'd get little fans.
Yeah,
And
nothing
you're
much
right.
to
There and a ton of seed though.
Yep.
But like
it. Yeah, you know what? I wish I would have kept some of those seeds.
I know,
So
right?
That's Mexican ox. I don't know how to pronounce that one. Oaxaca.
Oh, Oaxacan.
Yeah, Oaxacan, that's it.
Yeah.
This is,
Good
I don't know
stuff.
what, Michigan. It's not Michoacan, whatever, gold. Yeah, there's a lot of gold. You can see it's gold because it's just deprived of nutrients. And
Exactly.
here's like Hawaiian. So this is Hawaiian circa 1978,
That
man.
looks reasonably fat.
That
Yeah.
I'm gonna
It
feel
looks,
that
that looks
bad
like
if I get that.
Ventimiglia just about. I don't see no seeds popping through, and maybe a little bit immature, right? You can see like there's not,
Mhm,
but whatever. I know that shit was legit, man. That Hawaiian
mhm.
Acapulco gold. Like, look at how, like you say,
Yep.
pencily and feathery. There's nothing on there.
I used
Yeah.
to get that all the time, man. That
But
was
you smoke that shit, you get fucked up.
damn right.
And the high lasted longer, way longer.
Oh, geez.
Thailand. So these are like those Thai sticks. See
Yeah.
the string wrapped around them?
Mhm.
That's what they yeah, I wish I was alive and smoking back then. All right, this one says Hawaiian gold.
That looks. I'd be asking questions if I grew that. Like, what did I do wrong?
Right. You smoke it, you'd be like,
I
how
know
do I
exactly
do
what you
wrong
mean.
again?
Yeah, and that stuff back in the day, it wasn't loaded with trichomes or nothing like that. But man, it would fuck you up.
It would still get you right.
Nope, here comes Captain 420. Awesome. Yeah, I grew some Oaxacan Thai just a little while ago, and like I couldn't like get a decent picture out of it that looked anything special to get it like to put on Instagram, but like the smoke out of it was pretty good. Like it was a little lackluster. I don't know. I was a little overhyping it in my mind, I guess, but
I've been
This
tempted
one's
to
like
try and get a hold of some of those old legacy strains, man.
California indica. This one's it's 1981. Yeah, they have some different ones. Usually there's little doubles of the same pictures. But that one says Hawaiian sativa, California sativa, Hawaiian indica. Yeah. All right. I'll stop.
Happens in from beautiful downtown Thailand.
Not downtown, out in the country again. Was that a towel I seen on the screen?
That is correct.
What's up, Captain?
Hey, how we doing there, Towel?
I'm still alive. How you doing?
Yeah,
You beat down a
coming to
little
the
working.
coming to the realization that I have more acquaintances than friends.
Isn't that always the case?
Yep. Holy fuck. But yeah, things can go sideways in a minute, that's for sure. But you just keep going forward, that's all. One foot in front of the other.
Yeah, it's always unaligned expectations is what often fuck up a lot of things, you know?
Well, I don't know. I thought I was offering the world, and
Yeah, they didn't see it that
yeah.
way. Yeah.
No. I think it came out to the point where if you wanted part of my clone business, it was 25 million baht. But anyways, I come back home and I've got fruit that's just falling off the tree here at my house.
What kind of
Gonna
fruit
have
you
to
got?
go and I don't know the exact name of them. They're like a pear. Here, we'll take you out in the yard. They're like a pear. They're pretty sweet. They've got big ass fucking nuts in them.
Oh yeah.
There we go. The cool thing is though, is like right here, you've got a smaller one. So they're keep on fruiting and they're gonna be more fruits right there. So we've got green ones and then this tree seems to be loaded down with ones that are ready,
That's awesome.
are getting ready.
What do they taste like?
Yeah, like a pear.
Like a pear, eh? That's good.
Yeah, that's all I can tell you really. And then here's again the banana tree that I'm trying to save for a little bit longer. But we had this one shoot up. I couldn't believe this one here. I've got some new shoots down here.
Suckers.
So yeah, we're going to be rocking here in a little bit. Some potassium ferments.
Nice.
I'm sure we're going to be able to throw those on the ground there into something and make a ferment. And then of course we'll go to the, what used to be a pineapple field. I wish they would let me rent this field just to put up some greenhouses on it. Like to grow pot next to my house instead of having to move. But that's all right.
How far do you have
Maybe
to
move.
how far do you have to go to get to your grow? Well, when you got it set up?
Oh,
Or
not
will you
that
be moving
far.
out there?
15, 20 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm actually the gentleman that I was going to rent a rye of land off of and use his license in the beginning. And I offered him a ton of money for it. We talked about going into business and everything, and I'd do the indoor and I'd feed him genetics. Well, I told him the other day, well, since you don't want to go into business with me, but you still want my 50,000 baht for that rye, I think I'll take that and put 4,500 baht every month on a bigger house and just get property with it.
Nice.
But you need my license. And no, I don't. No, I don't. Not for 50,000 baht for one ride, considering that's basically what he pays for his whole farm per year.
Yeah.
But you know, that 50,000 baht was to go buy an industrial sized RO system, the commercial sized.
Yep.
Because the water there isn't that great. So let him deal with it. Let him keep trucking that water in.
You think it needs more
Because-
than a big charcoal filter? Like,
Yeah, no, it just needs to be cleaned out. Just some of the harsher chemicals taken out. And it'd be fine. But he's trucking water in. Let him keep on trucking water in, keep on paying those prices.
Huh.
You know, I tried to give him a solution at a very low cost, 1 rye out of 50.
what was he farming there before?
I don't know. I don't even think it doesn't matter to me because I wasn't using the land. Everything was going in pots.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter. And I've seen these, they're like ditch diggers. And I thought about those and it'd be like, yep, that's exactly what I'd get if I put it outside. It basically builds a 3x3 foot ditch, 3 foot wide, 3 foot deep. And I would just take that and amend the soil in there.
Nice.
And screw the soil here. I mean, I got nothing but red clay. So it's not really great soil to begin with. But we have we got tons of stuff to throw into it to make it good.
Agreed. You can always add to it. Although like a clay based soil though, like the cation exchange with the clay soil is actually greater than with any other type of soil. So,
yeah, it's just really red. So much iron.
But if there's too much, there's just too much.
So
what's the
how's
weather been
everyone
like
out there doing today? I'm sorry, I want to get you off my worries and my problems here and my headaches for a minute.
Right on. Everything's cool out here, man. It's been nice weather. It was starting to get cooler up here, but then it turned around. We had a real nice day there today.
Yeah, well, when you guys think about getting hot days, just think of me here in, the upper 90s.
Sounds fucking perfect. Is there always a breeze there or what?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
A little, 3-4 mile per hour breeze, just
Oh,
like
not
kind of
even that
like
much.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
But it's a constant breeze, so it's not bad. That hot air, that humidity is moving around. I'm sitting out here today. We got a little bit of an overcast, and it's just of course, I always have my fan blowing on me out here, but it's beautiful. Last night was like a beautiful 78 degrees. And, you think, okay, well, 78 may be hot for some of you, but, when you're going from like 98 to 78, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
It makes it a really nice night. So, yeah, I've got another friend that I seen last night, and I asked him if he was filling his beds yet because he just built quite a few big cement beds. And he says, oh, yeah, I'm filling them. I say, okay, what are you filling them with? Well, I go layer by layer and I add fertilizer. Well, what kind of fertilizer are you using? All this time release stuff. Okay. So you spend all this money building these beds, and now you're talking about wanting living soil, but you're putting chemical fertilizer into it. Yeah. So hopefully I can go over and stop him before he gets all the beds done and we can do them properly. So they will be living soil beds instead of amended beds. But, these people know that I'm in this and, they just want to do it their way. They don't want to call you up and ask for your opinion or your help. So what can you do besides throw your hands up and say, I give up? You know, you can only take so much rejection. You can only give so much knowledge. And here you give too much knowledge and all of a sudden you're not part of a business either. So you got to watch that.
I know what you do. You start your own and show them all how it's done, Captain. And then that's what you're going to do.
The problem is, Tao, is I'm a foreigner in Thailand, which is a kingdom, and I can't own a business here. I can only be 49% is the most I can own of a business.
I see.
And it has to be in a Thai name. And it's finding those Thai people. I mean, I've gone as far as offering $1,000 a year just for a signature. What they're afraid of, and this is what really gets me, is they're afraid that the Westerner will do something wrong. They're not afraid about other Thai partners that'll screw them over in a heartbeat. They're worried about, oh, the Westerner. Okay, I see how it is. Like I was telling everybody, you know, until you get here, you really don't see the prejudice. And then when you get here, it's right in your face. You know, they call it the land of smiles. Yeah, that's because they're trying to find out how to fuck you over too.
Damn.
How to get something out of you for nothing. So I quit talking to people again.
Yeah, I know that feeling. One of my main mantras and mottos is all people are assholes. But knowing that, you can accept them for what they are. So that's how come I get along with everybody. Because, yeah, I'm an asshole too. So
I agree. I'm an asshole and I put up with a lot of things. And, you know, there's a lot of things on these shows I can say, but I don't, because I'm not that type of person. And if I really have a beef with you, I will directly contact you. I won't do it over here unless you're dodging me like Bubba Fats here in Thailand. Pay me, motherfucker.
Yo, I know friends that know how to break knuckles. You ever could send some over for you?
Oh no, we've got a better way of this. We have military and police. That's how we handle things here. We just have the military show up at your house. The military and police don't answer to the same people either.
I still hate police as a result of prohibition days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't answer to nobody. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what they tell you at least, right?
No, the big problem is when the military comes in, then yeah. When the military comes in, that's it. You're done for.
I just got pulled over today on my motorcycle. And the cop just went off. He yelled at me for like 10 minutes straight. And it's a little bit of a story, but yeah, I only was hitting like 80. It wasn't even like I was driving like I usually do. Like I saw him and yeah, and he got behind me and he never turned on his lights. So he got pissed. He pulled up alongside of me and he rolled out his window. And I'm like, you want me to pull over? I'll pull over. But he never turned on his lights. So I was on the main highway. So I get on the service road and then all of a sudden he turns his lights on. So, but yeah, everything was in order. The only thing I didn't realize is I didn't have my inspection sticker, and I really haven't gotten the bike inspected in a while. So that was a fail on me. But everything else is in order. I have my motorcycle license, it's insured, registered, all that shit. But he was like, "I'm gonna have this thing impounded. We're gonna do it," because like And he sent me like the impound yard is, he said it was like a half an hour, like it's a big long story, but it was like far away in traffic land and everything. So, but whatever. But long and short of it is, after a while sitting in his car, he comes back out. He's like, "Oh, my computer's down, so all I could give you was a no inspection sticker ticket." So I was just like, "Thank God." But yeah, he was younger than me, which is like so annoying. You could tell like he was just on a trip, you know those ones that get on a trip. He was
Yes.
yelling at me, yeah. So I let him, and I was all, yes sir, sorry sir. Fucking guy. Like I have no problem bowing down and being like, but yeah, I was a bitch. I was telling because when I got to work, I'm like, yeah, I was a bitch. I was fucking total bitch. You know what I'm saying? Which I hate, but whatever. Sometimes you got to play the part, man, to just get by and do what you got to do. Like
Yeah.
I couldn't.
But then there's times you got to stand up for your
I was
rights
gonna
and
say,
say,
yeah.
hey, listen, you're stepping over your line there. I've let you do all this other shit. And some of this stuff's been borderline, but now you're wanting to step over my rights. This is where I'm going to start becoming confrontational. And you have to back the fuck off and think about what you're doing. Is it legal or illegal? And by the way, I'm turning on my video camera. We're going
I always
live.
start with, why'd you pull me over? Like always open with, because they only have 8 minutes up here once you've asked why you've been pulled over for some reason.
So you ask right away and click the timer, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It's
Good move.
Yeah, until they have from when they tell you the fence, they have 8 minutes to write you the ticket or some shit like that.
Instead of trying to find other things to write you more tickets for.
Well, but what they do is that they use the loophole where they say, "Do you know why I'm pulling you over?" And then all that time till they tell you is for you to screw up and give them a chance.
No,
Yep.
man, all thing they needed to do it is like, do I smell cannabis?
I just had a cigar in here. No, you do not.
Doesn't matter what you smell, it matters what they think they smell. You know what I mean?
And then you ask them, well, how do you know what cannabis smells like? Have you taken all the courses?
You weed.
It just, they've got to go through these courses and things like that. And hey, if they're not up to date on it, you can walk from a lot of these things.
Yeah.
The DUIs, if they don't go and they don't do all of their testing that they're supposed to every year on the DUI machines, then, you can get off on that. I'm not, no way am I saying, go out and drink and try to get out of it. But, there's a lot of cops out there that don't further and go about the recertifications.
Mm-hmm. You basically just tell them do their job.
Well, their job should be to protect us, not to
but they
police
should also
us.
No, they should be educated though to do that job for damn sure. So yeah, go to jail.
But they put on that badge and that gun, and they think that quite a few of them think that they are the law, and what they say and what they do is the law. Until they get somebody that knows the law and then calls them on it.
It's part and parcel though, too. Like, okay, they see the worst people in society all day, every day, and they start to equate everybody in society being like that. So that is why they always have an air of better than to them, because they feel that they're not part and parcel to this craziness that they're witnessing. And you got to realize that they're witnessing everybody at their worst all the time. So like it is hard on them. Like agreed. Like I hate the ones that fucking came after us for weed, but like I feel for the ones that are the good cops out there that are actually upholding the law and whatnot, and didn't care about fucking coming after us for weed, but have to see that kind of thing day in, day out, and they do end up affected by it.
West. We know it's even worse. Correction officers, dude. Those
my
are the
goodness.
most. Those people, yeah, they're crazy, dude. I could just imagine though. Imagine being that. That's your life. You go in there with the whole total dregs of humanity.
Exactly.
And the prisoners
All day,
are still
every day.
dregs of humanity. They try, like, he told us a story, dude. So they all shit and pissed in the bucket, and then they broke a fluorescent light into the bucket, and then they splashed it on the motherfucker's face. So
Jesus
the
Christ.
motherfucker just starts wiping off the shit off his face, and he's
Oh
cutting
no,
the
the
cut
cut
his
glass.
up.
face. Oh,
Just
no.
think about how nasty that is, just to even. Oh my god, you know. So if you
Yeah.
deal with that kind of shit, I kind of feel
Oh.
for him. But then again, man, yeah, no thanks. I don't
Yeah,
care how much
but
the
then
pay is.
there's also studies that show that like people put into those positions of power, like prison guards and whatnot, have a tendency to get violent and get mean towards the people that they do incarcerate. So they're like, it brings out a bad side of us too as well. That was in a Malcolm Gladwell book where they did a study he talked about. Where yeah.
Yeah, I
Those are the
think
most racist people too that I've ever met in my life.
Capable of, and that was.
Yeah, I think for myself here, I'm going to have to take a couple days, especially what's gone on. I do have, like I said, another meeting today, and I'm going to have to like clear my heart, clear my mind, and take one of those really, really spiritual journeys to get back on
Hey,
the
Captain,
ground.
how are the females treated in Thailand? Can they own businesses? Are they real people? Because maybe that's your kind of gentler chick.
Well, see, that's the whole thing. I'm sitting down talking to my friend that's explaining to me the reason why people don't want to go into business with me. And he says, you see the chai weed store right next to me. You see that he has a Thai wife. You see this person over here opened up a restaurant. He's actually got 3 of them. He's got a Thai wife. I said, yeah, but I don't want a fucking wife. It's like, yeah, there's ways to get around things and ways to do it. And once you have a Thai wife, all of a sudden the world opens up to you because you actually have a Thai wife. When I was talking back in the States about coming back and seeing fields this next year, I was talking about getting a Thai girlfriend or a Thai girl to go around with me because it would be easier for me to see the fields.
Right.
And, I'm okay with that because I'd like to have an interpreter. So I'll actually pay her to come out with me to these fields and interpret.
Nice.
But yeah, I don't think about going as far as getting married to open up a business here. I don't think, the money is worth the yak all the time.
Well, I wasn't necessarily meaning to get married, but just be a partner with one of them. Like, I don't know if they're treated as like, some countries they're underneath, like they can't even own a business in some places,
Well, believe it or not, there's more businesses owned by females in Thailand, I believe. They own a lot of the food preparation and restaurants, and a lot of them own hotels
and brothels, right?
Looks like Monkey Doo's gonna take off, guys. How's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Monkey Doo?
No problem, man. Monkey, you can find me anytime at High on Homegrown or over at Percy's Grow Room. I'm always available over there. You find me at Monkey Doo Grows on Instagram. Just drop me a line and let me know. Been fun, guys. I need to go spend some time with the missus before she, gets a little bit too angry with me.
Awesome, man. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, man.
Peace out, Monkey. Good seeing you.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.
All right, man.
Later. Sorry there, guys. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Never be sorry for that. If someone's got to go, we have to interrupt and say goodbye to them. It would be rude not to. And this is one place we try to be all happy and not rude. We try to bring out a little bit of our problems that we're dealing with here in the community, the cannabis community. And, this not only helps other people out there from not falling into the same traps or the same positions, and hopefully it won't. And, you know, it does help us too to talk through things. Because believe me, I've been kind of upset, kind of depressed, and kind of livid at the same fucking time.
Yeah, man. Those are all justified.
You know, and what it's going to come down to is I'm going to have to go to like Bangkok, and I'm going to have to get 2 partners. And those 2 partners are going to want like the world. And to get it done, you know, as long as I can keep my clone business separate. And that was the whole thing. I was trying to tell the guy that, listen, you know, opening up a new shop, you know, a really nice shop. And hey, if I can keep the clone business, my 1/3 of the shop can just go back into the shop, because the money from the shop isn't going to equal the clone money. So, you know, I figure if I put the money back into the business, we can have a really nice store. We can set it up really nice. We can keep updating it and keep moving forward, and maybe open up a 2nd store, a 3rd store. Because why? Because one partner isn't taking any money out of it. He'd rather invest the money and build the company. Here, they're more like, well, we've got one, we're making a lot of money at it, let's just keep with this. Not that, hey, the town's big enough for 2 other stores that we can open. You know, like back at home, you can jump on the freeway and you can be 15 miles down the road, or close to 20 kilometers down the road in 12 minutes. Or if you're like Tao, like fucking 6 minutes. But, you know, here, that 15 miles, 20 kilometers may take you like a half an hour, 45 minutes to do. So if you have a small town like I do, and from one end to the other just happens to be 14 kilometers, and the other end of the town has the 2 big major universities. So why not open up out there? And then we talked about the prices here, and I said, okay, you know, I was willing to sell you cannabis for 100,000 baht less a kilo. Well, what do you, if I can sell it to you at that price, what do you think I can put it in my shop for? You know, if you, that's what it comes down to, is, you know, the fact that, okay, if you don't want to be my partner and you kind of led me along for a while, I'll play nice in the beginning, but after my store is up and running, I'm just going to cut the prices, because I know I don't need to make that much, and I know what it's going to drop to. Because the Thai people just can't afford to go and spend a day and a half, 2 days pay on 1 gram.
Yeah, man. No,
Or
they
how
sure
about
can't.
this? You sit there and you smoke pot with somebody for 3 years. 3 years. And then all of a sudden you come back and it's legal and they can buy their pot out of a shop. And they're sitting here hitting this dirty ass bong that has about that much silt in the bottom of it, because they just pull it all through and they don't change the water regularly. And they're wondering why they're taking these big bong. Oh yeah, they don't pull the slide out either to take that hit. So they're just taking that all in, and they're wondering why they're coughing and puking and shit like that. And you're like, yeah, okay. You know, I understand cannabis is all new to you people and everything, but, you know, where I come from, we have smoking etiquette and a clean bong is one of them. But, you know, I sat there and I watched my friend buy a half ounce and he never even asked me if I wanted to smoke a joint.
That's strange.
Nah, that's just, I got mine and I ain't gonna share it with you type. And then you look back and you say, well, motherfucker, you were smoking wedding cake. You were smoking Gorilla Glue 4, you were smoking Afghani mango, and you go through a list of 12 different strains. And you tell them, you notice that only 3 of those strains have shown up here in Thailand. Well, you were smoking those strains fucking 3 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
And you won't smoke a joint with me today? Okay. Got it. So, like I say, you keep everybody at arm's distance again. It really sucks because I thought I was coming here and, you know, not producing anything and being a really kind and open person and giving people information. Well, now it comes down to, if you want to talk cannabis with me, you better have a good joint to smoke. And if you don't have that, you better have money.
You know what? I have questions, but I have questions more about Thailand. What would it cost for, like, what does it cost someone to go there and live there for a couple months? Like, how much cash should somebody be looking to have if you're just, you know, not trying to go all out and fucking go crazy?
You want to live like me in a simple Thai house.
Yeah.
Okay, with the exchange rate being over 37 now, my house is now, my 3-bedroom simple Thai house is less than $100 a month. And I was talking to a gentleman, I said, listen, I know you've got a wife, but if you get, because he's kind of well off to begin with. I said, if you could take like a 2-year hiatus from what you're doing back in the States, you and your wife could live here comfortably for basically $25,000 a year.
Wow.
If I went from $100 house to a $500-600 a month house, I would go to a 4 to 5 bedroom, air conditioning in every bedroom, really nice tile on the floor, a more westernized kitchen, you know, maybe even a water heater instead of on the wall, on demand hot water, you know, things like that. And you get a little bit of property and you have a gardener that takes care of your yard.
Yeah, man.
I tried, my friend's trying to get me to take over his lease and he's telling me, well, I'm downtown, I'm right by the clock tower. And then he sends me a pin of where it's at. It's 300 meters on the other side of my wall, the back wall over here. And I said, dude, you're trying to get me to rent your house. Well, it comes with a gardener. It's 15,000, you know, it's a really nice house, this and that. And I said, yeah, but how long have you lived there? He says, well, I rented it 6 months ago, but I've been living in Bangkok the past 2 months because he's a glass blower. So you need to go where the money's at, and the money ain't up here. So he went to Bangkok where the money's at. And I'm like, oh, then you haven't been privy to the loud music that comes out of the 3 bars down in that area. Oh man, it's quiet as shit. No, it ain't. I can feel the bass in my house. If I can feel the bass in my house, how do you think it's going to be at your house 400, 300 meters closer?
It's gonna be good. Good party.
So I am going over his house and grabbing the coca plants and the other psychedelic plants that are there.
Nice.
That he's had growing for the past 3 years while he's lived here in Chiang Rai. I'm really wanting to get those coca plants, man.
Potent was
Well,
saying
I
they
think
just have
that's
a,
something I could plant up here by, you know, the hectare, and they'd never know what the fuck it was.
apparently they have tons of hallucinogenic cactus up there.
I don't know about all the cactus. I do see a lot of the San Pedro and the San Pedro family here. So I can go to the local market and buy San Pedro or things that are similar to San Pedro. But they have a tree here that the one friend is giving me 2 of them. And he says, man, these trees are like 4.5, 5 feet tall now. But you take the bark off of them and they have like over 8% DMT in the bark.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Acacia?
so we
Hmm.
do have these trees and other things that are psychedelic here.
Huh.
I'm now learning, because to me it's all a big learning experience, and depending on what part of Thailand you're in, because people don't realize that Thailand is like driving from Ohio to Florida. That's how long it is. So, you know, you get in an airplane and you're still in that airplane for 4 hours, 4.5 hours. So, you know, Thailand is very long and it goes from north to south. And east to west is, you don't get much diversity. But when you go from far north to far south, oh yeah, the diversity of things that pop up that you just never hear about is just unbelievable. That's why I enjoy traveling so much in Asia, because like I said, you can be in the north and then go, you know, a 24-hour car ride or a 4-hour plane ride, and you're in a totally different atmosphere. You're still in the same country, but everything around you has changed. And there's so much more to learn. The culture is different. It's just, I really enjoy it. I truly do. If we could take the bullshit out of all the business and the little bit of, you know, prejudice out of it, it would be beautiful. Now, when I go to Cambodia, I don't get that. I don't get that prejudice.
No, hey.
The only thing I do get is them saying, yes, we know where you want to go. And then finding out 5 minutes into the trip, they totally don't understand what you really want to do for that day. Because the past 2 times that I've been into Cambodia, I've been trying to hunt down these cigarettes. Well, I hunt down these cigarettes because, yes, they have 10 milligrams of tar in them, but they only have 1 milligram of nicotine. And they don't hurt my throat. And it's also a good way for me to possibly quit. Because
Well,
most
exactly. You for yourself, you think you're getting the thing that you're craving, and so mentally, but then without the and you'll wean yourself off the nicotine that way. Anyways, I think that should work. That would be the perfect kind of cigarette.
and that's what I'm trying to do. And I, you know, because of some snafus in our system and getting things over here, because they've kind of changed the laws, like you can't put shaving cream in boxes. Well, shit, I'm not going to pay $9 for this little bottle of shaving gel, because the cream for me just doesn't work. And my face and my beard, the hairs that grow through are too tough for the shaving cream. And it just feels like you're just ripping it, where the gel kind of slides a little bit. But, you know, I'm not going to go pay $9 for basically what's the equivalent of 2 Travel-On sized shaving creams. So I have those shipped over, and I've had them shipped over for 5 years and I've had no problems. And I've had cigarettes shipped over, not many at a time, like 2 cartons and maybe a can or 2 cans of shaving cream. And of course, the razor blades that I use they just started selling them here in a single pack. Well, I'm not going to pay $13 US for a goddamn razor blade when I can have my friend back in the States pick them up for $4 a piece. And yeah, my boxes cost money to get here, but you know, there's usually something in the box to make it all worth the while, like horseradish sauce. Believe it or not, horseradish sauce. If you love shrimp and you love shrimp cocktail and you come to Thailand, man, bring your own horseradish sauce, because there's only like 3 shops in all of Thailand that I know carry it.
That's
2 of
hilarious.
them are in Bangkok and one of them's 4.5-hour drive from me.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
you know, when you come to countries like this, I mean, you've traveled, Potent's traveled, you know, there's certain things that, you know, hey, when I go back to this country, I'm bringing this, this, and this because I can't get it. And by bringing these 2 things, I can eat so much more of the food.
True that. I like the local food in Antigua just as is. I'm definitely.
Yeah,
Like
but I'm sure you've gotten used to eating prawn and shrimp, you know,
You know
with
what,
other
actually,
type of
Captain?
sauces.
I'm actually highly allergic to shrimp.
Shrimp,
When I was
shellfish.
pretty much all shellfish now. I used to not be. When I was a kid, my old man would go down to Guyana, and him and his buddy would they had planes, and they'd bring back these 50-gallon drums with like tiger prawns and shrimps in them, and we used to just eat shrimp while right after he'd come back. And eventually I just started having a reaction to it. It was just one of them things. It's like how some people build up the allergy to bee stings. I built up the allergy to shrimp by eating too much.
Ah,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that about
Well,
the
that sucks.
shellfish.
Well, that's whatever. I still love shrimp, but yeah, no, I just can't have them anymore.
Unless you take the shot before. Hey, we're gonna go out
Bam,
to eat.
hitting my leg until I snap off a bite. Should be about perfect. I think so. That let's see don't know how that would look in a restaurant.
Man, that guy's got a problem. Why, man? He just took a shot to the leg to eat shrimp.
Must be some good ass shrimp.
Excuse me for my coughing, but I had to go to Cambodia to get chem dog.
Do they do it well? Probably not.
Actually, it came from Cali and it was outdoor, but the price was a lot cheaper than Thailand.
That's
and
crazy.
not only
The
that,
Cali packs make it out there.
The next time I go see the guy, things will be a little bit different because this was the first time meeting him. But to come to find out that he is Khmer, so he is Cambodian, but he lived in Columbus, Ohio for like 12 years. So again, you know, hey, you come halfway around the world, and the person that you kind of mesh with the best happens to be the person that lived 2.5 hours from you back in the States. And then you get the people that have been here for 25 years and they're sitting there arguing with you about, well, why should I have to add extra light to my plants when I get these plants that finish at 3 feet no matter what? And it's like, okay, you used to live in Ohio. You do understand that these are phototype period plants. They need a little bit more light than 12 hours. Oh, well, I get enough off of these little 3-foot. Okay, that's when you have to throw up your hands and just walk away and say, you've been away from the States too long. You were a farmer back in Ohio. I mean, I've got a gentleman that's 20 minutes from me that I will never talk to again because of this, because of the way he acted. And I told him, keep on getting your seeds from Switzerland, like you say. Now,
Awesome.
I did just, we didn't sign any contracts, but I just hooked up with a gentleman who's been doing some auto flower breeding for a good period of time. And he's got 2 of them out ready to go out on the market. And he's going to be sending those over here to me. One's a 55 days seed to finish, and the other one's 63 days. One has a little bit of a gas earthy, the other one's more fruit. But, you know, I was able to buy 1,000 seeds at a really good price. And I'll be able to sell them here in Thailand and sell them for half the price of everybody else. And that's what we're trying to do, me and another friend. We're trying to make it accessible for feminized and auto flowers for everybody here. And we even thought about doing a big free auto flower giveaway, because a regular auto flower seed here in Thailand can be up to $20, $25 for a feminized auto flower.
Holy, you want to take a second there to welcome Matthew Gates? Welcome, Zethanol. How you doing, buddy?
Hey everyone,
Hi, Matthew.
I'm doing well. Just wanted to pop in here. I haven't been able to get on these lately, so
Good to see you, Matt.
Yeah, I saw. Hey there, Tao.
Yeah, you'd have fun over here, brother. Man, we got like 30 some different types of mites. You'd have fun. And I thoroughly enjoy all your posts, by the way. Thank you so much for all that information that you post.
I appreciate it. It's a labor of love, and yeah, it's not the, you know, it's not the people don't want to think about bugs and pests, and I get it, but they're thinking about your plants. So sometimes you don't get to choose how that goes, what encounters your plants, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
So-
one big thing I'm gonna have to fight here in Thailand are all the mites, though. But that
And
should
what
be pretty easy to do.
What are most people doing right now? Have you heard of a lot of people using harsh chemicals? Cam?
Oh man, they have this stuff over here that would put Avid to shame.
I'm sure.
I mean,
yeah.
that Avid was like 0.2% of this one product. The Avid they have here is 1.8. And I found out it's what they sprayed on my pineapple field that turned it all white.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you know, they kill those mites dead in their spot with that shit. That's for sure.
You know, I don't. They've got all kinds of interesting things over there in Thailand, and there's a lot of invasive pests that I mean, I'm not as familiar as other places, but I know there are several pests that have just kind of ravaged through most of Asia in general and kind of surrounding states. So I would have no reason to believe it wouldn't also be the case there for certain crops. And it's also, you know, like look at, I can see even from the environment around you, like it's pretty verdant. You know, there's a lot, there is a lot of life. Not trying to make an excuse for using those things, but yeah, it's a little bit different context than some other more temperate locations.
Now, I've heard of people using
I'm
Coca-Cola.
sorry,
I was just quick. I heard of people using Coca-Cola in like India, I think it was, as a pesticide. Have you heard of those tales, Matthew or Captain? And does it work?
I'm not sure if it works, but I feel like I've heard something like that before. I know that sometimes they spray sugar because like it gets very sticky, or it can have like a chemical reaction with certain organisms. I had a Dutch consultant one time suggest um, the application of molasses and a yeast or something to mealybugs. And actually, it did clear them out, but so did a lot of other things that didn't require us to buy a bunch of molasses and spray roses down with them. So I'm not sure.
We found that the mealybugs here in Thailand are attracted to marigold plants. So if you can plant marigolds, the mealybugs will go after the marigolds instead of your pot plants as much.
My understanding is a lot of those scales are kind of equal opportunists. So, and the crawler stage of the mealybug, oftentimes it gets onto things through like wind currents or from just like plants touching other plants. They don't always have a lot of autonomy over how they spread. But they definitely are big, or I would definitely believe it. Like there's a lot of scales go after a lot of ornamental plants. I have a lot of experience with various kinds of scale and mealybugs and that kind of a thing. They can be kind of easy to underestimate or misidentify too.
I know. I'm sorry, Tal. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I don't want to say this out loud because the last time I did this, I said I'd never had thrips before, and then like 3 months later, I had thrips, but I haven't seen mealybugs on my cannabis plants yet in my life. And I've seen a lot of different shit a lot of shit. But I would say the most disgusting I remember is when I had a whitefly infestation, and that only happened to me once, and I don't know exactly why, but that stuff that they leave on the plant, yeah, that skeeves me out. That was like, but I could see those mealybugs kind of even doing worse. Is that true, or they don't leave a?
Yeah, like mealybugs also produce kind of a wax, and the larval stage of whiteflies are actually very similar to scale insects. They kind of sort of are sedentary. They don't move. They kind of sit in one place and suck on the juices, and then a sort of an insect with wings comes out, and the whitefly. So they're kind of closely related, actually. But the mealybugs, usually the wax that you see is on their body, or it's on like a egg sac. And so, like if you spray something, sometimes, or like in a natural setting, like the rain, won't like disturb them, and neither will that sticky honeydew that they produce as well. Doesn't get on stuff and cause problems. But I feel like whiteflies are worse because they tend to they have the wax on their body, and then they like spread the wax, and different ones do different things. Some of them have almost like a fuzzy wax, which like a lot of the whiteflies I encounter are like that, like a mat that kind of just radiates out. Some of them make like long, thin, like hair-like filaments of wax, and it doesn't bother me very much, but it definitely is messy. It can like stain clothing too. Like you definitely know, like if you walk through a whitefly colony and you shake up some of the foliage, you'll see them like get disturbed and like fly around, and especially if you let your plants get really bushy. A scale insect I think is like this too, where like if they kind of are just left alone and they don't get a lot of light and they're just kind of left to their devices, then they can get really big really quickly, and then you get all that gross stuff all over your leaves and possibly your flower if it's covered.
Yeah, they seem to stay pretty low on my plants, as soon as I noticed it, I keep telling people that I ordered nematodes, and that seemed to fix the problem. But in hindsight, I was younger then, and it could have just been environmental change or something else. But Yeah, thank God that infestation, it isn't like spider mites that come back on me a lot. Those white flies, I didn't like them at all, man.
Yeah, in my experience, I don't see a whole lot of whitefly and scale and mealybugs on cannabis either. Um, but there are definitely experiences outside of my own, and I think a lot of it has to do with like maybe what's growing near you or certain other like local, um, what I want to say, context like that.
Yeah, I think
Because
seasonal. When there's
yeah,
no
that
other
too.
food, they find cannabis when there's nothing else to eat. Yeah.
Yeah, and and with the whitefly too, like the silverleaf whitefly is super common. It's the one I see the most, just in crops in general. But of course, some crops get different whitefly more often than others. But the thing about the silverleaf is that it does feed on cannabis, and a lot of people don't know this, but it does transmit leptospirosis virus, which is, as far as we know, is pretty much always lethal in cannabis. And in the few cases that are documented, scientifically at least, it makes the plant basically become all yellow and chlorotic, and it dies. So I don't think that's also very common either. But again, like reporting on such things is basically not a thing in a very sophisticated capacity, like with other crops. So
Where do you take it to get it identified?
exactly,
Right?
exactly. And what infrastructural support is there? I've met a lot of people over the years that it pains them that they weren't even able to be more. In some places, they were able to get away with certain things, but other places, like they would get in a lot of trouble. And it like they want to be able to be helpful, like in an agnostic way, like whatever your crop problem is, I'm here to help you. Like, not like oh, you have to be like a farmer who's growing corn or something or have a license for me to help you out. They're basically public, they're open to the public, and that's literally a lot of their extension specialist job is just help you out. But yeah, viruses are also kind of hard. Some of them are easier than others to identify, but yeah.
I'll probably butcher this, but do you have experience with Anitis baccarum?
Yeah, I do have experience with the whirligig mite.
Yeah, those were kind of cool. I used those recently on spider mites, and I found them very effective.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, they're I've known about them for many years, because as a child, I looked at a lot of interesting small organisms on plants and stuff, and I could definitely see, um, some of them just walk different, some of them are shaped slightly different, right? And and so with the whirligig mites, they're very, if you do know that much and pay attention, they're very conspicuous in how they look and how they move in that spiral fashion. So they kind of catch your eye a little bit. And if you're a kid on the playground or something, and you're like, you like look at a leaf or something, you're not doing anything else, right? You can kind of see this, like that motion. It might be attractive. And yeah, like other
I
mites
found
might
them
be like
so fast. I couldn't
so
believe how fast.
fast.
I couldn't believe how fast they moved around.
Yeah, and now in some places they are available as a commercial product. Um, I only can think of one, but I'm sure there is more than one entity that provides them in this capacity. And they're a generalist predator. So for those who haven't encountered them or used them, I see them advertised. So also, I just want to say that just because they might eat like in research, has been shown to eat certain organisms, like a mite or an insect or whatever, it doesn't mean they're a good biocontrol. Not necessarily. It's, can they eat a lot of them, and usually in a way that makes it feasible to control as quickly as possible, given like a certain number, which of course is super contextual, but like just so people know, because sometimes people will say like, oh, I saw this research that sometimes cucumbers eat spider mites, or this happened, and
turns out there was nothing else there to eat, so spider mites,
for example. Yeah, exactly. Or the population of cucumbers was just massive, and the population of spider mites was fleeting, and the math worked out,
Yeah.
which is another good reason to have them preventively. But anyways, I digress. Whirligig mites are good for thrips, for white flies, and also for spider mice I've seen as well. And there might be others out there as well, like maybe some mealybug crawlers or something like that. I've definitely, there's content on my Instagram and also my YouTube channel, Zenthanol, where I've had footage of them like on the leaves and eating different insects, and also eating like eggs on some leaves of like castor bean and things like that. So there's probably some other neat knockoff effects for introducing them.
I way overloaded on them, but they did their job.
Hey, that's okay. Like sometimes, like,
You got to drop the bomb.
what's the phrase? Not a good person to quote, but sometimes quantity is a quality all of its own, right?
That is
But-
That's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're also kind of robust too. Like not to bogart the conversation, but like as
No,
far as like
they are.
predatory mites, yeah, they're kind of like hulkier. They're sort of they're
I
more robust.
I literally opened my package that came in the mail, and like literally they were like jumping out of the box like already, like they had found their way out of the containers. Like I don't know how, or whether it would just be in loading. I don't know. But like they were jumping out and ready to go. They were they moved like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like them.
No, I found them fairly effective. Yeah.
What were you treating?
Spider
Spider mites, right? Yeah.
Spider mites. Every year the same time I get spider mites. Just where my grow is, and they're outside here big time. So as soon as it gets cold and everything starts dying off, they immediately just trickle in under the garage door and boom, boom, and I got them. Then I got to get rid of them, and then usually that's my one bout with them for the year.
With Steve coming over to Thailand, he asked me about, beneficials and things like that. And I said, actually, Steve, I've kind of looked into it and then kind of really not, because I wasn't able to find much. And even in his research, there's only like maybe possibly 2 or 3 companies here in Southeast Asia that carry, beneficial bugs for us. And another thing you have to look at is, well, today's a nice, cool, 87-degree day. And in the back of these trucks coming in, when they get transferred and everything, will they actually be alive by the time you get them?
Yeah, the supply chain is super critical as an aspect that's often overlooked by home growers, but also commercial growers that use them. They'll order them, and part of this is a miscommunication, perhaps you could say, on the side of the people selling them, so they don't make the customer aware. But regardless, something happens and they order them and they go onto their doorstep, and like they leave them there for like hours in the baking hot sun, and those respirating bodies, they die. Too much CO2, the ice packs or whatever that's in there to keep them warm fail eventually, and they all suffocate to death. And then they apply them not knowing that, and they're like, this didn't work. And that happens a lot. And sometimes it's for no factor of their own. Sometimes like, mail gets held or something happens, and in some cases it's the biocontrol company's fault even. And, it's a quality control issue. I've had that happen a few times, even with the big names that are extremely popular, and the good guys, in my opinion, one of the mark of a good biocontrol company is that they, usually they honor, like if it's provably their fault, usually they're good about that kind of thing. That's also been my experience too. But like you say, if if you can't ensure that they get to your location very well, then they're definitely not. It really truncates how many you can feasibly employ. Some of them are in egg form. Some of them out there are like biocontrols that are like microbes. So those might be more stable, but yeah, like predatory mites and larval predatory insects and things. If it's in like a state of torpor, like a pupa or an egg or something, like a transitionary stage, might be a little bit easier. But yeah, and they're not always, and also in a location like yours, like some species might do really well, honestly, especially like I could think like fungi, would really dig the excess humidity, or the extra humidity, I should say, not excess for Southeast Asia. Not, what is very normal for that part of the world. And yeah. But that makes sense,
Yeah, everybody should check their package as soon as it arrives to see if whatever you bought, if they're alive, if they're supposed to be alive, make sure they're alive. That's the first thing I do. I open up the top, dump a little bit out on a white piece of paper. I put it under the scope, and pretty quickly I'll know if I'm happy or if I'm calling them up right away. But yeah, usually I've been lucky. There's only been twice that I got dead ones for sure. And then one time they were just hardly moving, really lethargic. They were already warmed up because, like Zentanol was saying, they were packed with an ice pack, which if it's cold enough, it'll keep them. If you put them in the refrigerator, it'll slow them down drastically. But as soon as they get warmed up, they should be moving around like crazy. And I thought they were dead. I called them up and complained or whatever. And I forget if they sent me another one or not. No, they didn't. That was like, I did it twice in a row to that one particular company because it didn't happen. And later on, it seemed like they did end up surviving because I saw them scouting on my plants. I saw some of them alive. So, but yeah, I'm a big believer in the beneficial insects because, like I say, I hate spraying because sometimes you got to spray for bugs when the plants don't want to get sprayed on, and I hate seeing my plants pissed off. That's one of the reasons. And you let the bugs do the work so you don't have to, it may cost a little extra, but if you get healthy bugs and give them the environment to survive, that's been my favorite way to take care of pests that I come across anyway.
Yeah. Somebody who I'm going to pronounce their name as Texas Weed Hopper, that's what the TX stands for, mentioned that a lot of predatory insects seem very expensive to them, and a lot of them are, for sure, in different areas more than others too, especially for some people, like they're just not available where they are. In other cases, they're just kind of expensive, and that's a totally valid point to bring up too. So like, all the more important is it to like use them in an efficient way. I've worked with some growers who are so they have enough resources to dedicate, and also they're very, very fastidious, and they'll apply like Persimmilus mites, which specialize against spider mites. They'll just apply them every week, whether they see them when they're scouting or not, whether they have any evidence of them being there or not, just simply because.
Every week,
weekly.
That's
every week.
Is that like not overkill? Even if you do have a problem, like I would say every 2 weeks.
You will never have a problem manifest if you drop it.
Right, if you do it every week, right. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
And it's the rate. It's also the it's the frequency, but also the rate. So they don't like apply like tons every week. They apply
a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, or a certain number. Yeah. And then like other people I know don't do that. They do another model, which I think is totally valid too, which is where if you have data, and also if you're growing in a situation where like the seasons are very like conspicuously different, like in Southern California, this might be less applicable, but in other places like where there are actually warm and cold months, and you might actually have like a seasonal incidence where they like get really bad like reliably this time of year, then you apply them a few weeks beforehand, and
Yeah.
that can really help you out, especially if you pretty much always get them. So
I'm pretty much in that kind of situation where when winter time comes, they come in looking for food. And I guess when spring starts, they're just so abundant that they find their way too. So that's when I usually experience my pressure when I do. And yeah, take note of that for sure. But you know what?
Well,
It's getting late here. I gotta dip out, guys. It's always good chatting up, talking about cannabis and all things about cannabis. It's good seeing you, Matt, Captain 420.
Thanks.
Wes, good to see you. Big ups, as you would say, big ups, kid. And hopefully, yeah, I'll check you guys out in the future shows. When you all see Potent, tell him I said hey, and we'll catch you later.
peace, Tao.
And peace out, chat. I'll be in chat. I'm gonna do stuff here, but I gotta move around and whatnot. So, all right, late.
You know, we kind of touched on something here, and for me, being able to have a small selection of predatorial bugs to choose from, and also coming, you know, another thing that I can mention too, you know, is I came from those days when it was $400 an ounce. So if the only thing that was going to keep my plants healthy was adding beneficial predator mites to it, then yeah, I was spending the money religiously on those plants. But now, since the price of pounds are below what I was getting an ounce for, you know, you have to look at those costs. And here in Thailand, my growing season where I'm at is a little bit different because during the daytime, it can be 80, 85 degrees outside. But soon as that sun goes down where I'm at, in December, January, we're dropping down into the 30s and 40s. That would hamper using a lot of predator mites. We also have a lot of moisture too. And the moisture, you know, I understand, and I've gone back and I've just said, okay, in the beginning of the plant's life, I'm just going to use sulfur, and hopefully that will get me through everything. But then comes the big worry of that last 70 days of that plant's life when I can't use sulfur. You know, what am I going to be able to use? And I'm scouring to try to find that information and talking to people and finding out what they use. And that's when I found out about that product that's, you know, 9 times worse than Avid.
Yeah.
You know, oh, this is what we use. It's systemic. So if you use it for 40 days and you don't harvest your plant until 60 or 65, you may be okay. You may be okay. You haven't had it tested yet, have you?
Right. Yeah. I've definitely have had the discussion with people where, like, you know, they're describing their issue and they're describing like some of their treatment methods, and they might, you know, not realize that what they're applying is systemic or something like this, or they know that it's systemic but they're kind of playing loose with like the, you know, how much it like reliably decays and the physiology, you know,
don't
the
understand
half-life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the problem is like if it's like because a lot of times people apply systemics on, like, not that this is great because it gets in the nectaries and then bees and flies, and even like powdery mildew has been shown to like take up certain insecticides, and then an insect like a powdery mildew eating lady beetle, they do exist, like Silobora, will like eat the powdery mildew and then die, you know, which is crazy. You wouldn't think that that would happen. It would be, but like, it's one of the unique ways that these sorts of things can be a problem that, you know, people didn't really consider. But anyways, like on a tree, you know, that tree's going to be living for many years, hopefully, perhaps decades. And, you can kind of apply it like once a year or something. But like with like a plant like cannabis that you're going to harvest and use, not only because you're going to be consuming it, but also because like it's a very short life cycle. Yeah, I mean, you would think it would probably be pretty strong. I feel like it would stay pretty strong in the plant a lot of the time. Because even one time a year or something isn't, it depends on the compound. Again, not that I'm advocating for this at all, but I'm just saying, speaking of the hypotheticals is something that people sometimes play around with, and I don't think that's very responsible, generally speaking.
Well, I have another question since we're talking about the topic, and this is for the knowledge of everybody. These systemic chemicals that are out there, and I know, some say 40 days, some say 50, 60 days. Now, if someone were to use these products, okay, and say they were using, like myself, a 70-day plant, and they sprayed it at day one when they put it into flowering, and that would give them basically, if it's a 40-day systemic product, giving it that extra 30 days. What is your opinion? I know you don't have product name and you don't have the product labels in front of you, but just as a hypothetical guess, would that 30 days give it enough time to clear out of the plant?
Yeah,
that buffer passed?
It's an interesting question, because it really depends on your definition of clear out, because there might still be trace amounts, or more than maybe somebody would call trace amounts. Like when people, like just from the pesticide perspective, when you're applying it, and you're expecting it to have this sort of residual staying power, right? This sort of endurance in the tissues. Some pesticides you apply are just translaminar, and so they get into the tissue that they make contact with, but they don't move around the plant physiology. Whereas a true systemic, in most cases, you can apply it on the foliage and it gets into the roots. In some cases, in other cases, you have to apply it to the roots and it gets everywhere else. Or you can do both. It depends a bit on the compound. But those compounds, they get into the tissue and they're meant to like kill, like for example, insects or fungi or whatever that's going to be colonizing the plant. And like in the insecticides case, the problem is that you would like you apply it once because it lasts a long time, but when it starts to sort of like fizzle out, it might still be poisonous to these insects, but maybe just less so. And then if they survive, you might select for resistance traits, which is another sort of topic when it comes to these and even natural compounds. So I don't think 30 days would be enough for cannabis to answer the question very shortly. But also, like, just in case people are curious, like what governs that, I have an incomplete understanding of what that is. I think there are other factors that aren't coming to my mind here. But like obviously things like evapotranspiration, so like the water going through the roots, going up the plant, and then coming out of the stomata, like that whole process that aids photosynthesis and all that. That's a major factor. Metabolism. The metabolism of the plant, is a factor. If it's got but it essentially works as a faster metabolism, then this is going to be a faster process potentially. If it's a lot slower, then probably that. And also environmental factors like heat and humidity and that kind of thing will affect those processes as well, right? So, but yeah, a lot of systemics are meant. A lot of them, they work well on like ornamental trees and fruit trees and things like this.
Flowers, stuff you're not going to eat.
Or smoke.
And when I say work well, I mean that they do what they're supposed to do by like lasting a long time in the tissue. Again, not something I advocate for, but I guess my point is that cannabis is just so much more short-lived that if that's the context in which they're often utilized, then, you know,
Also, the way cannabis is ingested, it's more risky
True.
too as well.
absolutely. I mean, and that's like kind of adds another like magnitude of like concern, you know, not only all this other stuff we just said about how it's very unlikely that people are winning the gamble when they're surreptitiously applying these products to keep the bugs down, but also like the particular way in which it is interacted with, whether ingested or inhaled, and particularly the latter. You know, that's kind of unique and doesn't bode well.
Yep.
Well, thank you for your information on that. I'm sure it helps me because it kind of reaffirms that, hey, even after 30 days, it's probably not going to be gone in your cannabis. So if you are giving it that 30-day window, you may want to rethink it. And, there's a lot of people here in Thailand that use that product and figure that, oh, if I give it 3 weeks, it's going to be out of the plant. And I think what it really needs to be is, okay, why don't you apply it, and why don't we find some place to actually really test it? And that's one
Yeah.
of our problems here. The only place to go get these tested are at the more agricultural colleges here in Thailand.
Yeah, one of the I feel like one of the main issues is that, like, this is not in defense of any product or anything like this, systemic, non-systemic, but like a lot of people, to the product's credit, people don't always read the label, believe it or not. And a lot of people don't understand the label, even if they read it, in totality. So, and a lot of times people are applying these under pressure and duress because they know there's a problem, but they don't know, they might not identify what it is, or they didn't do it correctly. All of these factors play into the role of how these pesticides are misapplied. And sometimes professionals in agricultural spaces will apply things inappropriately, either because their bosses told them to, or because they just decided to not consider the wind speed on the day, and that there was a headwind, and that they applied this herbicide, and now all of their neighbors' crops are all burnt up to a crisp, or they applied an insecticidal agent and it gets into the environment in a way that it wouldn't have if it was applied correctly. So just and even things that are natural, or I should say things that are maybe botanically based, or aren't systemics, that can still have a negative effect on the local environment. I have to go for a short moment, but if you'd like to riff off of that, I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Sure. So yeah, that's one of the big problems that I've come across here in Thailand, and what I've been talking to a lot of people and trying to find that solution for that last part of the plant's life cycle, where we can't apply something like, I've gone back to it now because since predator might, or the little oh shit, I'm drawing a blank because I got high. The little mites back in the States that, are causing the big problem, the only thing that really kills it is sulfur. Well, we kind of gotten away from using sulfur, but now we have to bring it back because it's the only thing that's getting rid of these little mites. And, it takes care of all the other stuff too. So, okay, I can treat my plants in vegetative form with sulfur, but when I get to the crucial point, the point of making the flower, the point of making the money or the smoke, what do I use then?
That's
is
hard.
what it's coming down to.
That's the hardest part. When that's where I feel like beneficials are the only thing. Like I don't like to spray anything else in flower, nothing else at all, because yeah, it just doesn't.
And that's
sorry, go. It just affects the quality long term. Like you see it at the end. It never tastes quite right. It never burns quite right. You know, it's going out on you. Yeah, I don't know.
and like I say, there's like 37, 38 or so different mites here in Thailand. So, you know, you've got to really look at that. And I have seen lots of plants that I didn't even want to get close to because I could just see all the dots on the leaf. And I know basically within a 3-foot radius of that plant is nothing but spider mites through everything. And I don't want to like be in a car riding back home constantly going like this. But, you know, the people here, they use that one product that's 9 times the active ingredient that kills the mites is 9 times that of Avid. And they think it's all right because they're giving it a time period between when they apply it, when the product says it's now non-systemic, and okay, we give it that buffer of 3 weeks, but is that buffer actually really enough for our smokable or ingestible cannabis? You know, it may be okay for a fruit tree that gets washed or you take off the outer peel or something, but is it really good for our cannabis? And that's something that we're just going to probably have to do trial and error and spray 1 plant or 2 plants or 3 plants and give them those different lengths of time where you're not giving it anything or that buffer time and just take it in and have it tested. Because I think still, even like Zenthal said, you know, at 30 days, you may be picking up lethal amounts of contamination still, or enough to get you sick.
And enough the levels start building up in you anyways.
So that's been my one big worry here, but you know, that's why because I am going to be running indoor facilities here. I'm going to leave the outdoor to the Thai people that have been growing outdoor here for a while.
Are spider mites just not from there? So is there just not a predator that eats them? Like what's the deal? Why are they so crazy there?
There's just 30 some different types.
Really?
It's just a massive amount. And I think a lot has to do what I mentioned earlier, how long Thailand is. And you go from that real tropical where you couldn't pay me enough money to go down there and run a grow facility because the humidity problem would just be too much to take care of, too much to manage. And I think going from there to where I'm at, where it does get cool at night in the growing part of the season up here, I think that it's that big diversity.
That 15 degrees that has a tendency to create a lot of molds and PMs and whatnot. Like, yeah, absolutely. A lot of botrytis and stuff, especially in the bigger stuff. Yeah, you definitely want to be looking at stuff that's known for being mold resistant and whatnot, and, where you have those temperature swings like that from night to day.
I think that's what really helped me the most was by going to the 2 regenerative conferences this past year and learning, you know, how to make my plants healthier so they can help fight this. Because I know botrytis is going to be a big problem. And what I consider my middle growing season. Because up here, I have enough time where if I do it right, I can do two kind of more heavier stacking, more broadleaf plants. But then during December, January, and parts of February, even parts of November, really, I have to worry about that nighttime temperature drop because the moisture is still in the air. And that will give me bud rot just quick as shit.
Yeah.
You know, even though that I get up during 80, 85 during the day, and that happens very, very quickly here. Basically, when the sun comes up, you can have that 40 degree, 50 degree almost difference within 2 hours. It heats up.
Yeah.
And this, you know, we have a bunch of cloud cover, but it looks really sunny behind me. So it does burn that off, but does it burn it off quickly enough? No. So for that 70-day window, 80-day window that I have there, I'm going to have to use something that is very loose structured to get it to grow outside, even in my greenhouses.
Nice.
And I've also decided that all outdoor that is planted will have shade cloth over every bit of it.
I would imagine you'd need it for most of the indicas, without a doubt. I mean,
If not, they would
sativas, you
just
don't
die.
probably need them, but
I,
no.
I've seen, I'm sorry.
Oh, I said, no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right.
And I've seen a big difference even with local varieties grown under shade cloth. The trichlomes just stack up and they're just so more flavorful and more pungent smelling, either it be the
Interesting.
spice or the sweetness. And it's really not that expensive, but you know, I did go out and I spent a couple $1,000 on quite a bit just shade cloth.
Nice.
And instead of putting it up with any type of nylon roping or anything, I just went out and got some wire, a nice gauge wire, and we're just going to loop it through all the eyelets. The company was good enough to build it to my specification on the eyelets. So
Nice.
I was able to get my eyelets at 21 inches apart, which I feel, you know, because I am going to want to put this shade cloth at least 12 feet in the air, because some of these plants will grow a lot taller than that, but hopefully, you know, they're not more than 8 to 10 feet if I do it properly. But not saying that some of the varieties that are going to go outdoors won't reach that 10, 12 foot mark. But having it up that high with the little bit of wind that we have constantly here, I thought about it and it was like, nope, we're just going to put steel beams in the ground or cement fixtures and run all these with wire. You know, I'm a big believer in doing it right the first time. And yes, it may be a little bit more of a cost, but is that cost worth the mindset of, oh God, we got a big windstorm and a rainstorm here, I'm going to have to go out and check those? No, I don't have to. That wire held.
Yeah.
You know, having that peace of mind.
Awesome.
And I think a peace of mind affects a lot of growers because they think that they have to stay home all the time. Well, I proved that totally wrong. You can leave for 2 to 3 days at a time. Your plants will keep going. If not, maybe you should change your medium up a little bit, or the way that you water, or hey, how about automated watering? And even with automated watering in places that are remote that really don't have a lot of electricity, or the electricity goes out all the time, you can always do gravity fed watering and have it hooked up to battery solenoid. Believe me, living out here, I've listened to a lot of people, and coming from, being someone that, hey, let me look this up. Hey, what about this idea back in the States, and having all those products available to me? It's like coming over here and, okay, this is your problem. I've got a solution to it. It's not a high-tech solution, but they don't have to be high-tech as long as they work and feed your plants.
That is absolutely correct. A lot of times the simplest solution is the best solution.
And believe me, I like to hand water a lot of my plants, but when you start getting up over 40, 50 plants, it becomes a pain in the ass. All of a sudden you're taking up an hour, 2 hours of your day watering your plants.
Easily.
Yeah, as somebody who has worked in the agricultural space outside of cannabis, a lot of farmers are like a lot of people in the US who are considered to be in agriculture or are farmers are like 50s, 60s age range, the majority, in fact. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like there's this fetishization a bit of certain kinds of growing techniques and styles. And I think people conflate it with being more wholesome or good. Nothing wrong with, like you're saying, like hand watering and giving a lot of attention to each plant. I definitely support that. But a lot of people out there aren't as spry. Historically speaking, agriculture had a lot of indentured servitude for labor. And I just feel like people shouldn't have to break their backs in order to provide healthy and productive produce. But at the same time, obviously, you have to be considering, how you go about that, right? Because I think there are ways that are, maybe more or less harmful to people or the environment, whether you're at the end of that chain and consuming the produce, or whether you're at the beginning of that chain and you're creating the equipment, or if you're in the middle and you're using that equipment to achieve those objectives. So I don't know. I have a complicated, because I'm kind of like, I definitely have a great appreciation. I was talking about, some people saw my budworm moth presentation on the Future Cannabis Project's 02 channel. Yeah, and I was talking about the cool little micro aerial vehicle with the camera. And then there was the IR scanner. And they work together, and the drone comes in and annihilates the moth, with the propellers. So that's I feel like that's great. That's a great, because a lot of times those are active at night when you're sleeping, or if you're at commercial facility when people are away, because you will have only so many hours of work in the day. Again, unless you're enslaving people to do it, and cannabis has some of that problem as well, I suppose. But yeah,
I have no problem enslaving robots for taking out moths and as a result, caterpillars.
Yeah, right. In your space, don't wait. I mean, I'm not saying that people should wage war against the ecosystem outside of those spaces, but in the greenhouse. And
Right.
Well, and also what made that technology really cool to me was because the technology was sophisticated enough to discriminate different moth species.
That's cool.
So that's incredibly, that's way better than a bug zapper, which kills everything that's attracted to the UV light, which is all kinds of stuff, good stuff, bad stuff, neutral stuff to you. No, I don't really support bug zappers for that reason, but this would be more targeted. So that's kind of cool. And low electricity, believe it or not. The battery on the drone is not very, large. And the IR scanning is like, I mean, it's different versions of that, but it's a pretty old technology, conceptually. Anyways.
Now the smart ass comment comes out and says, yeah, just think of all those beneficials that you're adding to your plant at each time one of those moths hit one of those propellers and go all over your cannabis plants.
Yeah. This product is definitely for vegetables and ornamental flowers. That is what it's being used for now. But lasers might be an interesting alternative, so you don't get the splatter effect.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think that there's a way that we could hybridize, sort of like, using like technology and also just basic logistics. You guys were talking a little bit about logistics before I started speaking, but like it's super undervalued too. Like again, like the plant. I feel like a lot of people already know this, but like it's easy to fall in love with the plant that you're growing, that you consume, that you have experience with. But like then it becomes all the things around that make you able to be a salient business or just be a productive home grower, like just like so that you can support yourself even. Like water and electricity, like you were saying earlier, like those are resources that are very different in different parts of the world. Yeah. And you can't just ask somebody to drop 10K or 1K. That's a lot for a lot of people.
Like here, if you're growing indoors, you need to have something to regulate the power to your rooms, because our power does fluctuate. It goes up in the current and then it drops in the current. So you have to have something for that. And, it's nice that now here in Thailand, I get to go more with an LED, but it's really nice that the digital ballast came out, because they can kind of help buffer that. But that was a big problem years ago using HBS and metal halides, is you get that little interruption in your light and it shuts off your light. And even though you have a reset timer, sometimes those lights take longer to pop back on. And if it hits it with power and it's not at that point, then it's never going to completely fire up, but it's going to use that power. So being able to provide a constant power to your room, a consistent level of power to your room, is a big concern here in northern Thailand, or Thailand itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, for example, myself, I did this more than a year ago, more than a few years ago now. But for my own computer setup, and I recommend a lot of people, their whole lives are on their computer, the way that they make their own money, the way that they communicate with people they care about. It's where they store all kinds of media that they need, photos and pictures, same thing, videos, that kind of a thing, documents. So I got an external battery pack. Well, it's like it is a battery, but it's like
a battery bank.
A battery bank. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's the phrase I was looking for. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so now it goes through that. And also I have it set up so that like if power goes out, and this actually saved me a few times already, because they've been having power outage problems here in California, right? Because it's very hot and people were using a lot of electricity, and most cities that live here, are basically blights, on the surface of the ground. Like they could never sustain themselves without all the external support that they get. So anyways, long story short, I read history, and I thought that it might be a good investment, and it was. And it's also set up like in such a way that if the power goes out, it's got about 15 minutes or more to power the computer. But if it starts to get to like that low level, and I haven't turned it off or whatever, then it actually has software that will sort of shut down my computer for it, so it doesn't like lose power.
Right.
And so far, I haven't had to do that, but I just think that's part of the sort of same concept of trying to be self-sustaining, and yeah, I mean, like imagine so much could be lost with a power surge or something like that. And there's a lot of machinery and equipment. Speaking of which, in Thailand, I'm not very familiar with this macroeconomics, but there's machines out there, industrial machines and things that might be able to even support agriculture, right? Where if you get a power outage or something, like that machine automatically stops moving, but it might have been doing something very important, and maybe it's not meant to like shut down like that, and that could just destroy the machine potentially, whether it's a computer or server or like a mechanical thing, and that's not great. So that can also retard growth a little bit, or your ability to access certain services. All these things come into. That's a mighty big cichlid you have there in your tank.
Yeah, I got a couple of them there. I got a couple.
That's a bloody parrot cichlid, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. They're blood parrots. Yeah. Abomination.
Oh yeah, I know the history about those too. Yeah.
Abominations. Yeah, no. Yeah, my wife likes them. She got them, so those ones aren't allowed to go anywhere. And the angelfish are my daughters, so
very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So logistics, not very sexy, very important.
Always. Well, you guys getting tired? You want to call her here?
It's pretty late where I am.
I'd say so. You guys want Matthew, you want to go first? You want to let people know how to get a hold of you, and what's the best?
Sure. Yeah, no problem, Wes. Yeah, so hi, hello. I didn't really introduce myself. But if you are interested in like pest management information, I have a lot of free educational content on my YouTube channel, Zenthanol, which is also in the chat a few times. So if you go through the video, you might see my channel pop up. You click on it. You can also find me at zenthanol.com for professional inquiries. If you want some consultation, some help with that sort of thing, I do this professionally. And like I said, I also provide a lot of free information, not only on YouTube, but also on Instagram and on Twitter, which is my username at SyncAngel, sync like synchronize, angel like the mythological creature. So find me there, and I look forward to our mutual success. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thank you for stopping by. It's good seeing you. And
have a good night.
Captain 420, what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Best way to get a hold of me is through IG, and it's Ohio's Captain Dank. And that's Captain, just like on the screen, CAPT. It's Ohio's _Captain _Dank. And you can get a hold of me there. You can see me traveling around Southeast Asia. You could see the past 2 weeks where I actually spent more time in Cambodia than I did at my house. And the little bits and pieces from there, like I had mentioned earlier, ran into some pretty decent chem dog, and it was a lot cheaper than here in Thailand. So, somehow some came to my house somehow. And, you can follow what's going on there and what I have going on here. You can also be updated on some of the seed projects that we have going on with Dutch Blooms and Grateful Jays. So some of those seeds, at least from Grateful Jays, will be available soon. We'll also be popping up some of these Thai strains that we're coming across and getting those out to people. So follow me on IG. Thanks so much for hosting this, Wes. Potent Ponics.
I didn't do much of it
tonight.
didn't do a very good job of hosting it, but thank you for everybody showing up, and I appreciate everyone coming and helping out. And yeah, no, it was lovely talking with you guys tonight, and hope we can do it again. I look forward to see everybody back here next Wednesday night, and like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Wesingine, and don't forget to follow Potent Ponics and Growing with Fishes. And anyways, I guess that's it. Good night. Take care.